Let us for a few moments meditate on Sri Ramakrishna and pray for the well-being of the whole humanity. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Avataravariष्ठाय Ramakrishnaaya te namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Sri Ramakrishna's profound wisdom taken from the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel. Sri Ramakrishna has given us practical spirituality. Everything about Sri Ramakrishna is practical. There is no room for simply theory. He would always stress upon the practice, steady practice. So if you want to reach the goal, you must be steady in your practices. So Sri Ramakrishna would always insist upon going forward, not to stop for any reason, and always be steady in spiritual practices. Last time we discussed some of the profound teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. This time also I would like to take few ideas from Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel. People generally talk too much about image worship. It's just like people debate whether God is there or not. It is from time immemorial this debate is going on. It continues to be like that. Even if Mahatmas come, even if they declare that we have seen God, even if they show you God, even then the debate will go. That's the human nature. It's all right, but one should have proper perspective and one should have clear understanding of things, then everything becomes simple. In the same way, people talk too many times. Is it necessary to worship image? And so much is going on throughout the world. People talk about this. In fact, when Hinduism comes, it is full of image worship. You can't think of Hinduism without image worship. And millions of gods and goddesses are there. That only shows the magnanimity of the Hinduism. It provides for everyone. Every image has its special power of manifestation of the divine power. So, absolutely right, anybody can worship any image, doesn't matter. But it should be done with proper understanding, it should be done properly, then you will get the result without any doubt. Sri Ramakrishna says, now let us take Sri Ramakrishna's verdict. What did he say about the image worship? Sri Ramakrishna himself started his spirituality by worshipping the image of Kali. So, in a way, he is suggesting that image worship is very essential part of spiritual life. So, Sri Ramakrishna is telling from his own experience the significance of the image worship. After hearing this, you should never have any doubt hereafter. So, what does Sri Ramakrishna say? You can read in the Gospel, you find so many times he has spoken about the image worship and its significance. Swamiji says, Sri Ramakrishna says, image worship is necessary in the beginning, but not afterwards. So in the beginning it is very necessary. Necessary means it's a must. It helps you. It helps you towards your spiritual journey. A person must acquire the power of mental concentration by first fixing the mind upon the divine forms. And when he has attained success therein, he may easily fix it upon the formless later on. And Sri Ramakrishna tells further, Advaita knowledge is the highest, that is, the reality, the total reality, the absolute Brahman, realizing which there is nothing more to realize. Everything is done. But then Sri Ramakrishna says, though Advaitic knowledge is the highest, God should first be worshipped. How? As Master is worshipped by his servant, as the adored by the adorer. This is the easiest path. It soon leads to the highest knowledge of unity. Again, Sri Ramakrishna tells in the Gospel, in some other place, he says, as you recall your father by his photograph, so likewise the worship of the image reveals in a flash the nature of reality. Again, Sri Ramakrishna said, how long do small girls play with their dolls? As long as they are not married and do not live with their husbands. After marriage, they put the dolls away in a box. What further need is there of worshipping the image after the vision of God? Once you get the vision of God, then no more image worship is required. You can see in Sri Ramakrishna's life itself. Now, I am taking the scriptural verse in order to how Sri Ramakrishna, his teachings are really authenticated. There is a scripture called Uttara Gita. It tells, Agnir Devo Dvijati Nam Muninam Hridaivatam Pratima Swalpa Buddhi Nam Sarvatra Samadarshinam. The meaning is this, that those who have been infested with the sacred thread, that is Yajnopavit, those who have received Gayatri, those who are duly initiated into the traditional religious culture, they have to worship fire as the god, Agni Devata. A real orthodox Brahmin every day worships Agni. Everything is done through Agni. All links to gods and goddesses. Everything about spirituality is done through the worship of fire, Agni, Agni Devata. There's a famous sukta in the Rigveda, Agni Sukta. It is there. Fire is the god to be worshipped. Those who have Yajnopavit and who have Gayatri Mantra, they should worship fire. For the ascetics, that is, who practice silent meditators, you can say, the god is to be adored in the heart. Muninam Hridaivatam. They look upon, they worship God in their heart. But those people who are in a very ordinary level, with not highly developed intellect, we can say feeble intellect, they should worship idol. It is the god to be offered worship. One should offer worship to idols. That will help the aspirants very much. And there is another category, the illumined souls, the illumined saints. What about them? Do they have to worship idol? Do they have to worship Agni? Do they have to offer their adorations to God in their heart? What is their status? How do they act? How should they act? It says, for the illumined saints who regard all things with the eye of evenness, the God to be revered is verily everywhere. They see God everywhere. That is the indication of the illumined saints. So, the question doesn't arise for them. Everything is God. As Sri Ramakrishna himself once said to Vivekananda, everything is Brahman. This ladle is Brahman, this table is Brahman, this chair is Brahman. In fact, Swami Vivekananda in the beginning he ridiculed, but finally he was made to realize the reality by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. Well, that is, image worship has its own importance. That's the point. Swami Vivekananda says in his teachings about the image worship, worship consists in prayer, praise and meditation. Bhakti yoga is the realization of the divinity through devotion to and love of a personal God. Jnana Yoga is the realization of a man's own divinity through knowledge. Two sorts of persons never require any image. Swamiji says, who are those two sorts of persons? One is the human animal, who never thinks of any religion, and the perfected being who has passed through these stages. Between these 2 points, all of us require some sort of ideal, outside and inside. Very nicely Swamiji has said, we may worship a picture as God, but not God as the picture. It's very important. We may worship a picture as God, but not God as the picture. God in the picture is right, but the picture as God is wrong. God in the image is perfectly right. Every person will be a worshipper, and the reality in every one will be the object of worship. So, there is tremendous significance in the worship of idols. Never belittle it. Never feel inferiority. Oh, I am doing image worship. I don't have intellectual skill to understand the scriptures. All these depressive thoughts need not come. That's the idea. Sri Ramakrishna himself is the example for us. How he started his spirituality with image worship, and how he got the vision of the Divine Mother, and how that vision stayed all through his life. Even after the realization of the Advaita, even then Mother stayed with him, and he could see Divine Mother all the time. Next, Swamiji's Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. Sri Ramakrishna says, in true jnana, not the least trace of egotism is left. Without samadhi, jnana never comes. Samadhi is the final result. Jnana is like the midday sun, in which one looks around but finds no shadow of oneself. So, when one attains jnana or samadhi, one retains no shadow of egotism. But even if there be some ego left, know for certain that it is now composed of vidya, that is purely divine elements, and not ignorance, not avidya. So jnana is the realization of self through the process of neti neti, not this, not this. So he is well established in his assertion, and he goes into samadhi through this process of elimination and realizes the Atman. There is a verse in the Atma Bodha which tells you, Bodhonya sadhane bhyohi sakshan mokshayaka sadhanam pakasya vanheva jnanam vina moksho nasidhyati. The meaning is, as fire is the direct cause of cooking, so knowledge and not any other form of discipline is the direct cause of liberation for Liberation cannot be attained without knowledge. So very emphatically, this scripture says that Atma Bodha, composed by Shankaracharya. So knowledge is very essential, not the knowledge referring to this worldly knowledge. No, here knowledge means spiritual knowledge. Swami Vivekananda touches the same point in his talks on the freedom of the soul. He says, the Vedanta is the only prayer that we should have. This is the only way to reach the goal, to tell ourselves and to tell everybody else that we are divine. Your practice of Vedanta starts from this assertion, I am divine. Everyone is divine. The whole universe is divine. God is supremely divine. The whole concept, the Vedantic concept, is based on this divinity. And as we go on repeating this, strength comes. He who falters at first will get stronger and stronger, and the voice will increase its volume until the truth takes possession of our hearts and courses through our veins and permeates our bodies. Delusion will vanish as the light becomes more and more effulgent. Load after load of ignorance will vanish, and then will come a time when all else has disappeared and the sun alone shines. Sun alone shines. That means you will attain the reality, your own self, true self, by experiencing the vision of the true self. You will be in perpetual bliss. Another profound teaching of Sri Ramakrishna, third one I should say, I have already touched two. Sri Ramakrishna says, these teachings are taken from the Gospel, which we have already read, most of the chapters. The world and God, how is it possible to harmonize these two? Look at the carpenter's wife, Sri Ramakrishna says. How many things she is doing at once? Carpenter's family in India, not the modern carpenters, who have got all machine tools. With one hand, she stirs the flattened rice in the mortar. With the other hand, she is nursing her child. And at the very same time, she bargains with a purchaser about the rice. Thus, though her occupations are many, her mind is fixed on the one idea that the pestle by which she was pounding the rice shall not fall on her hand and bruise it. So, Sri Ramakrishna teaches us, be in the world, but always remember Him, God, and never go astray from His path. There is a famous verse in Bhartrhari, Vairagya Shatakam, which talks about this idea. Asha nama nadi manoratha jala trina taranga kula ragagrahavati vitarka vihaga dhairya dhruva madhvamsini moha varta sustarati gahana protunga chintatati tasyaha paragata vishuddha manaso nandantu yogishwaraha. The verse is very long one. The meaning is this: there is a river constituted of mad longing. Its waters are the mind's wishes. It is agitated by the waves of desire. The crocodiles of attachment and infatuation make their homes in it. The birds of idle conjecture and vain imagination resort to it. The river is destructive of the trees of fortitude on its sides. Crossing the river is rendered difficult because of deceptive eddies of delusion. The course of the stream is bounded by high impassable banks of worried thinking. But the master yogis of purified minds, however, cross this turbulent current and reach the other shore and experience eternal rejoicing. May such gifted ones rejoice and rejoice. Swami Vivekananda touches upon the same point in his teachings. Swami just dealt with all these matters. If you read complete works carefully, you don't have to read any textbook on any religion. All the ideas are given there. But you must read thoroughly again and again, again and again. Then you will understand. Most sublime inner meaning. And you will be able to interpret Swamiji's teachings in your own way. Tremendously you can interpret. Swami Vivekananda says, this world is hideous world. At best it is the hell of Tantalus. We are all doomed to live here like Tantalus. Unhappiness is the fate of those who are content to live in this world, born as they are. 1,000 times greater misery is the fate of those who dare to stand forth for truth and for higher things, and who dare to ask for something higher than mere brute existence here. These are facts, but there is no explanation. There cannot be any explanation, but the Vedanta shows the way out. The Vedas preach, be not in despair. The way is very difficult, like walking on the blade of a razor, yet despair not. Arise awake and find the ideal, the goal. Nature never has power over you. Like a frightened child, you are dreaming that it was throttling you. And the release from this fear is the goal. Not only to see it intellectually, but to perceive it, actualize it much more definitely. Then we perceive this world. Then we shall know that we are free. Coming to the last wisdom expounded by Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel. This also is very important from our spiritual life as such. Sri Ramakrishna says, what is there in mere book learning, if it is not accompanied with viveka and vairagya? That is discrimination of the real from the unreal and renunciation. Sri Ramakrishna says, if I see a Pandit without discrimination, without the love of God, I know him to be no better than straw. The Hindu almanac contains forecasts of the annual rainfall, but however hard we squeeze the book, not a drop of water can be got out of it. The Paravidya, or highest learning, is that by which God is known. All else, the Shastras, the philosophy, the logic, the grammar, etc., as such only load and puzzle the mind. They are good only when they lead to the highest learning. There is a verse in the Sanskrit which talks about this point. Yatha swaraschandana bharavahi bharasya vetta natu chandanatha tathaiva shastrani bahunyadhitya saranna janan karavad vahet saha. It's a nice example. The ass, that is donkey, that is made to carry a load of sandalwood, it knows very well the heaviness of the burden, but not the fragrance of the sandalwood. So too does the man who has read very many scriptures but has not grasped the essence and import of the scriptures merely carry about, like the wretched ass, only the dead weight of books. Swami Vivekananda says regarding this point, we attend lectures and read books, we argue and reason about God and soul, religion and salvation. Every day these topics are being discussed in all parts of America, at least I could say. Swamiji says, we attend lectures, read books, argue and reason. These are not spirituality, because spirituality does not exist in books or in theories or in philosophies. It is not in learning or reasoning, but in actual inner growth. Even parrots can learn things by heart and repeat them. If you become learned, what of it? Asses can carry whole libraries. So, when real light will come, there will be no more of this learning from books, no book learning. And Swamiji says further, the man who cannot write even his own name can be perfectly religious. And the man with all the libraries of the world in his head may fail to be. So what is the conclusion? Learning is not a condition of spiritual growth. Scholarship is not a condition. The touch of the Guru, the transmittal of spiritual energy will quicken your heart. Then will begin the growth. That is the real baptism by fire. No more stopping. You go on and go on. So, how Sri Ramakrishna has made us more and more practical in our learning, in our application, in our daily life, in our thinking, in our action, in every manner. You should be practical. You should be practical. What you say, it must be followed by the life. So, Sri Ramakrishna's life is of utmost importance on account of his being intensely practical. So, if you are really practical in following the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, definitely, undoubtedly, assuredly, you will realize God. Even in this world, you will enjoy the bliss of God. And Sri Ramakrishna has assured us, Holy Mother has assured us, that whoever prays to God sincerely will surely be blessed. Chapter 38, page 725. Sri Ramakrishna said to M, "Can you tell me why I have been feeling like this past few days? It's impossible for me to touch any metal. When I touched a metal cup, I felt as if I had been stung by a horned fish. There was an excruciating pain all over my arm. But I must use a brass water jar, and so I tried to carry it after covering it with my towel, but the moment I touched the jar, I felt the same acute pain in my arm. It was an unbearable pain. At last I prayed to the Divine Mother, 'O Mother, I shall never do it again. Please forgive me this time.' The younger Naren often visits me. Do you think his people at home will object? He is very pure and doesn't know what carnal pleasure is." M answered, "He is a large receptacle." Master said, "That's true. Further, he says he remembers spiritual things after hearing them once only. He told me, 'I used to weep in my boyhood because I could not see God.'" The Master and M were thus talking about the young devotees when someone reminded M of his school. Master said, "What's the time now?" A devotee answered, "It is 10 minutes to 1. Master asked M, you had better go now. It is getting late for you. You have left your duties." To Latu, Sri Ramakrishna asked, "Where is Rakal?" Latu replied, "He has gone home." Master said, "What? Has he gone away without seeing me?" After school hours, M returned to Balaram's house and found the Master sitting in the drawing room, surrounded by his devotees and disciples. Among them were Girish, Suresh, Balram, Latu, and Chunilal. The Master's face was beaming with a sweet smile, which was reflected in the happy faces of those in the room. M was asked to take a seat by the Master's side. Master asked Girish, "You had better argue this point with Narendra and see what he has to say." Girish said, "Narendra says that God is infinite. We cannot even so much as say that the things or persons we perceive are parts of God. How can infinity have parts? It cannot." Master said, "However great and infinite God may be, his essence can and does manifest itself through man by his mere will. God's incarnation as a man cannot be explained by analogy. One must feel it for oneself and realize it by direct perception. An analogy can give us only a little glimpse. By touching the horns, legs, or tail of a cow, we in fact touch the cow herself. But for us, the essential thing about a cow is her milk, which comes through the udder. The divine incarnation is like the udder. God incarnates himself as man from time to time in order to teach people devotion and divine love." Girish said, "Narendra says, is it ever possible to know all of God? He is infinite." Master said to Girish, "Who can comprehend everything about God? It is not given to man to know any aspect of God, great or small. And what need is there to know everything about God? It is enough if we only realize Him. And we see God Himself if we but see His incarnation. Suppose a person goes to the Ganges and touches its water. He will then say, 'Yes, I have seen and touched the Ganges.' To say this, it is not necessary for him to touch the whole length of the river from Haridwar to Ganga Sagar." Laughter. We shall stop here. So, any questions? Any debate? When you come to Sri Ramakrishna, Because it is necessary to discuss. Discussion is not bad. Argumentation is not bad as such, but it is to be under limits. It is to be under limits. Argumentation with the idea to know the things correctly. Not simply to argue with the idea of simply criticizing. So everything has got its utility. You must know its utility and then apply it. That's all. So when you come to Sri Ramakrishna, everything becomes nice for us to know and do the things properly. So as followers of Sri Ramakrishna, follow religion properly and give love to everyone, whomsoever it is. That is real religion, religion of love. Give only love, nothing else but love. Love and love and love only. The more you give love, the more religious you are, the more practical you are in your spiritual ways. Whatever may be the angularities, defects, etc., don't worry about them. They get washed off. They get washed off just by dwelling on the spiritual ideas, constantly remembering them. All the impurities are simply washed away without your knowledge. How do you know they are washed away? Because you become more and more peaceful. You become more and more cheerful. And you begin to love everyone. These are all indications. These are all indications. So as a human being, we tend to have some weaknesses, but it should not bother us. God knows we are human beings, we have got defects. Does He not know? The knower of the whole world, does He not know our simple defects? He knows everything. Be like a child. Be like a child. That's all. If you behave like a child, not childish, child, you will be taken by God with tremendous love. And once you are perfect in that ideal, then you will certainly see everyone as a child of God. That's all. The whole creation belongs to God. Why should people quarrel among nations, among religions? It's really meaningless. God is addressed as Vishwatma. Vishwatma, Sarvabhutatma, Sarvantaryami. Sarva means everywhere. It includes all the places in the whole creation. So have that concept and practice it. Don't worry about others. They do like this, they do like that. There is no end. There is no end to that. The world goes in its own way. You straighten yourself and get out. Don't try to straighten the whole world. You can't do anything. You can't even straighten the hair. Straightening the world. Straighten yourself first. That's all. Your goal is reached and your life becomes blessed. If God wants, He can do miracles, He can do many things. It is not necessary that He should do through you. Why do you expect that? Be humble. If God accepts it, He will ask you to do. Otherwise, keep quiet. Shut up your mouth. Don't be egotistic. What of that? So, God is a taskmaster, you must know. He will put into test. You have to pass through tests. Without passing the test, you can't enjoy the beauty of God. So our whole life is a test actually, spiritual test. Any question? Nothing? Any comments or any question or any... This is good. Very good interpretation. It is true. You can't deny anything. That's what Sri Ramakrishna's teaching is Because we don't know it, we are suffering. That's all. So, how we have taken form, how this form came, when this form has come, why not God cannot come in a form? It should be possible. It's logical, actually. And you can know only, you can know God, you can have the glimpse of God only through form. If you are a human being, you can recognize a person in a human form. A tiger recognizes another tiger in the tiger form. So it is just like that. But all the scriptures, the knowledge of the scriptures, they are all important to the extent they take you towards a goal. That's important. Not to be mere pandits, but putting them into practice. That's the idea. And all our spiritual masters have shown us so many ways. In fact, time to time, the rishis, they gave us the model how to practice spirituality in our daily life. It's called Smriti Shastra. Yajnavalkya Smriti, Bharadwaja Smriti, Bhrigu Smriti. But what has happened nowadays, all those are gone. Now everyone behaves like himself is Smritikara. Everyone behaves himself like a Smritikara. Oh, I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. So that means the modern Smritikaras have no background. They are weak, hollow inside. But the rishis were not hollow. That's why Smriti Shastras, you follow strictly according to what the rishis have told, you will get the benefit, definitely. But if you go in your own way and call yourself another Smritikara, then you will be in trouble. That's what we see nowadays. Everybody interprets religion easy way. In whatever way he lives, it's a religion. The interpretation has come like that now. Whatever way you are living, it's called religion. No, it cannot be like that. Unless you have some ideas and practice them specifically, how can you be called religious? Any question, any more? Do you have a scientific interpretation of? Oh yes, I am always open. But for discussion you can meet separately also. But in the class time it's difficult because limited time you can't do discussion properly. There, if you meet independently, then you can have thorough discussion. You can fix up the time and come and discuss. No, Swamiji, I am not referring to Swamijis. I am referring to the ordinary people who claim themselves, whatever they do, it's all right. No, I am not referring to Swami Vivekananda at all. Swami Vivekananda is illumined soul. They come under illumined categories. So Swamiji's interpretation, if you take and follow, it's wonderful. But what I mean to say, if you go to Lemont temple, 200 people will say 200 things as if they know the truth very clearly. That's what I mean to say. So they do and they interpret in their own way. And whatever they do, it's all right. So how can it be? If you don't follow it correctly, correct procedures, systematically, you can't get the result. Simply gathering and doing some ritual and after declaring we did so many things. So your personal life is very important. Individual life is important. The gathering also is very good. But everything must be done in a very thoughtful way. I have seen many times, I have gone to Hindu temple also, I have seen. And worship will be going on, people will be talking there. It doesn't mean they should not talk. They should have a separate place for talking, not in front of Thakur. So you are coming here for the chapel. Here, it is not simply picture, that's what I told. It is not simply picture. Sri Ramakrishna himself living. So, suppose Sri Ramakrishna is living, do you make noise in front of Sri Ramakrishna? On the other hand, you must become more sublime. So that kind of sanctity, maintenance of sanctity is important. That's why you don't feel atmosphere in many places. They build huge temples, dry, nothing. For example, I went to Baha'i temple. Architecturally beautiful. Here, in a Lakeshore, you go straight. Once somebody took me. We went there about 5 minutes to 11 o'clock or so, and we said, can we go to the chapel? They said, well, you can go, but if you want to go and see, if you want to see and come, just see and come back immediately. If you want to stay, because after 5 minutes the service will start. After service starts, you should not come in the middle. After it's over, you should come. Then we said, we would like to attend the service. We told. Then you can go. Then you can sit there. So we went and sit. We sat there. We were waiting for the service to begin. And the time was on. 2 girls entered slowly the chapel. Those 2 podiums were there. She was reading some passage. After the other one was reading. Nobody was there. Myself and the person who took me, we were only 2 only. That chapel had the capacity of 1,000. Extremely beautiful structure. Garden, it is just like Nandanavana. Beautiful garden. But where are the people? They are doing mechanically because they are paid. So they come and do that service, reading and go. But you have maintenance. People who practice it, who mean what they say, they should go. Otherwise, why the service is meant for? Service is meant for the people to come and have the benefit of that. Is it not? But people don't understand. They give reasons. I have got to work, I have got to go there, I have got to go. So many things. No, we shall stop here. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean, and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Our name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, May all be free from disease. May all realize what is good. May none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be free from bonds. May the freed make others free. May good bread all people. May the sovereign righteously rule the earth. May all beings ever attain what is good. May the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time. May the earth be blessed with crops. May all countries be freed from calamity. May holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.